Okie dokie.
Cable 10, Aurora, Illinois Community Access Channel.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
I thought I was here to be a sex slave.
What? No! What a disgusting idea!
Where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Enjoy your stay.
Okie dokie.
Hey, out there in YouTube land, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to my channel. This is Rob here. It's Smirking Gun Reviews. Yeah, I just said Smirking Gun Reviews because fuck it. That's what it's been always. I just, I can have my ups and downs and my qualms about who I am and what my channel is, but in the end, that's what it is. Because today we are doing a review for Fallout Season 2, Episode 1. Did not cover Fallout Season 1 because I'm an idiot. But along for the journey, at least for this episode, I've got some familiar faces to the channel. Over to my immediate, I'm not even going to try to point, the guy over that way. Darrin Jaques from D's Reviews. Welcome back, as always, to the channel and to talk about this show.
Oh yeah, super excited. I loved one, and that was dropped all at once. They're smart this year to put it out weekly, and I think that makes it easier to talk about as well. So I'm excited to jump back into Bethesda's little creative world here. And
he's going to be showing up this coming Monday on our podcast, The Outer Rim, as our first guest that we've ever had for the 9 or 10 weeks that we've been going over there. But joining us tonight to talk about Fallout Season 2, we've got Marc from Enchantment of Eternity.
Hey! yeah. Thanks for having me. Great to be here. I'm always willing to talk any sort of sci-fi show or anything. So yeah, I will say up front that it's been a while since I've seen Season 1, and so when I watched this episode, I was a little bit lost. So hopefully, I'll get caught up talking with you guys about it.
Cool. For me, I didn't play the Fallout computer PC games. I didn't play the first 2 Fallout games. I had somebody in my life that told me about them, but I didn't really know anything about them. But then Fallout 3 comes out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and changed everything everywhere. And since then, for a while now, the world has been playing Fallout and enjoying games like New Vegas, which is my personal favorite. I've never enjoyed playing the RPG puppeteer master of a bunch of video game characters more in my life than when I was playing that game. And now, all these years later, Jonathan Nolan goes and makes a show about it. And we've been getting a little bit better at the video game adaptations lately. I haven't hated every video game adaptation out there. Some of them are they just miss the mark, and some have been terrible. But we've been getting a lot better. And I mean, the first thing that I can say about Fallout, being a longtime player of the games, is they nailed that. This is the world of Fallout. This is that harsh, dark humor all the way through, unexpected gore, super mutants and monsters, and just odd ideas. Everywhere you turn, there's something bizarre to see or look at or read, some bit of information, some character just out in the middle of nowhere that you'll run into. And depending on your ability to talk your way out of things, like I try to be in these games, you can go south real fast. That's one of the fun things. And, it's one of the first times that I was introduced to character creation, where I could be whoever I wanted. And I mean, my very first character that I ever made for Fallout 3 was modeled after Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was James Marsters running around, the wasteland, and it's been a blast. And it's great to see a show that really does get the source material, casts it right, and is taking us on a real game type journey. In my opinion, Lucy and the Ghoul, the way that they both come at things, gives you the opportunity to see kind of two game styles. One is the person who wants to talk and be the diplomat and find a better, less cynical way of doing things. And then you've got the Ghoul, who will give you all the carnage that you want if that's the kind of game style you want to play. But then put that into a TV show. And that's the kind of care that they've given into this. So I'm coming at it from that big fan love. I did not have high hopes for this, even by the pedigree, just because it's an adaptation of a game. How are they going to do it? And they nailed it to me. That's my little summation of my experience so far with Fallout and what I think of this. What has been your impression so far of Fallout that you remember before going into tonight's episode? We can start with Darrin.
Well, the Ghoul is definitely an expert at using the VATS system. For those, if we really want to do a game callback, the way of earning powers to zoom in and destroy very specific parts of your enemy, which is great because that was one that I never really got fully into. I've always appreciated Fallout, but I did not play it until Fallout 4. Just because RPGs are just one of those things where mostly it takes so much time. I don't have the time to be able to invest into a lot of those, especially a lot of the Bethesda games, which are just gigantic in their world building. The one thing that I love so much about this series is you are seeing parts of the game. I have walked past that gas station, from last season. Today in the opening scene, it's like, oh, where the biker gang was held up. Oh yeah, I've done that town. I know that exact layout of that. And they've done, you're right, their ability to really pull the best from from a game and do such an accurate recreation is, I think, the great power of this series. And this is, it's Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy behind Westworld was their last big thing that they did. So, I mean, their ability to blend violent delights may come to violent ends. I mean, this really is a perfect, I think, build off all of this, where they have an established world that they really can play with, but they can bring a lot of that creative and sensibility and intensity. And I think that's the other thing that the show really does so well. It's funny and it's quirky and it's weird. And that guy's head just got blown off right in front of you. They don't shy away from the violence. They don't shy away from that. And it makes it, instead of like a spoof of the times, it's really a commentary, and how they're able to lay in a lot of that thick cost of capitalism that really the games dive into with all of the experiments and vaults and different things. I think the show really is able to lean into that and make a great commentary while being incredibly entertaining. And I think that's really its biggest success in my mind.
Cool. So I never played any of the games. I'm not much of a gamer. I haven't really played games since like the 90s, really. So I'm unfamiliar with it. But I've seen some of these video game adaptations and being like, oh yeah, you could tell how horrible it was and how they weren't able to translate it very well. But as Rob mentioned, as of late, there's been a couple of good ones. There was Last of Us. I enjoyed that show as well. And this one, I will say, like, the first episode, like, sucked me in. Like, I didn't think I was going to care that much for the show. I was just giving it a try because other people were like, oh, it's good. And yeah, that first episode is like basically Red Wedding type thing. And it was like, wow, no, that was a great way to start the show. And I was like completely sucked in. And I will say, like, I do think in the later half of season 1, I could kind of tell that they were adapting a video game or adapting something, because there were some aspects that felt like they weren't really that necessary for the plot, and they were just there to be like, hey, remember this stuff from the game, which, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't think it interfered with it too much, but I'm hoping I'm still interested, but I'm hoping things will pick up more in season 2.
Yeah, I think that we're, with season 1, you get to introduce everybody to the world, and then and allay a lot of fears to the fans of the product that we know about all these things that you want to see. We've been there. We want to create them with love. I mean, it costs money to just do a scene and where they have the Tyrannosaurus Rex at the beginning to recreate these things, just for this. You know what I mean? Just to give people that. And these day and age, man, if you want your show to succeed, you've got to draw the people in and give them what they want. And this show at least is doing that. Now, can we keep the quality of the story up and not just rely on that? And I think that that's where season 2 will come in. Yes, if you liked Fallout New Vegas like I do, this season was like, oh my god, yes, we are going to New Vegas. And who's gonna play? And Mr. House is a character in that game that that was one of my most favorite parts of the game. And getting Justin Theroux to come in, one of my favorite actors ever since like American Psycho and The Leftovers, to play this guy I'm just super excited for. And I think, though, that we're going to see even crazier and darker plots as we go along. And we're going to see that test of like who the ghoul, is deep inside, and more of what Lucy is capable of. The more that she realizes that the life that she thought she had was just all made up. And can she still stay that good person while making all these difficult choices?
I almost jumped in and tried to play New Vegas before this came, because after the end of last season, I knew that's where we're going, and I was like, oh, I've heard so much. I should definitely dive in and get that. I didn't get around, but as I got closer, I was almost like, I want to see what the show does. And then I can go in and play and fill in, and I can appreciate a lot of the different stuff. Because, yeah, I mean, at this point, it was just like I want that surprise now, So I was curious what your take is, because I knew that you had played New Vegas.
Oh yeah, the glitchier, like as much of a glitchy mess as all Bethesda games are. Yeah. All the Fallout Bethesda games are anyway. It's still great. So also want to like get your idea on the cast. What your feelings are on the cast. Who's your favorites? Who do you think still needs work on this show? Marc, you can go first on this one.
Well, I like what's her name? Ella Pernell or something like that. I recognize her from Yellow Jackets, and she was voiced a character on Star Trek Prodigy. It's mainly where I knew her from, and it took me a while to recognize her at first because she looks a bit different. But she's always been one of my favorites. I always loved her performance. Walton Goggins, of course. Appreciate him more and more as the episodes go by. I really appreciated him in this last episode. I share Rob's enthusiasm with Justin Theroux. as a huge fan of The Leftovers. He was also in a great limited series called Maniac, which I think is underrated. It's one of my favorite limited series. Yep. And so, yeah, really, really happy to see him join the cast. If I had, and they had that one dude with the old dude from Mr. Robot with the talks like this with it. He was in the bit in season 1.
Yeah, Mr. Price.
Yeah, Price. And I guess if I had to point to acting I wasn't that enthused about, it was that one character. Was his name Maximus or something? The dude with the suit. Yeah, I mean, he was fine. I didn't think he was terrible, but I mean, I don't know. I think maybe that could have improved. But other than that, like, I hadn't had any complaints really about the acting.
Yeah, I think the casting has been perfect across the board on this show. They have gotten everyone that really is living those characters. I definitely through season 1, I appreciated how they kind of, evolved what's her name, Ella's character, going from the vault, in the vault and all primed up and ready to do those things, though they were smart enough to give her, show that she did have some skills, to halfway through the season when she goes back up and finds the ghoul. She's already got the vault down. She's got like a little piece of shoulder armor and a bit there. She's a little bit tougher, and so it was nice how they kind of showed a development of her going from the nice character to the, yeah, I'm still trying to be nice, but I know that I've got to make some hard choices. What was interesting, and I get this again, it's a total video game thing, is how they sort of are able to reset the character. By the end of last season and beginning here, she's back in just the vault outfit. Her little extra armor pieces are gone. And she's establishing herself as, okay, I'm going to try and talk this out. Just like you said, the that one style of character play. And so now she's got a little bit more of an arc. It's like, okay, I'm still trying to not kill. I'm trying to look at the right thing. And you go, okay, great. This firmly establishes where she is and where is she going to be by the end of the season. With the ghoul, Walton Goggins, who's just freaking so perfect in this. We got to see his badassery, and then maybe he's got a little heart. And now I think we're going to see almost that opposite thing where he has to soften up in order to get to his family and do a thing. But he's the hard butt killer that's, going to shoot you in the eye and not the ass, because it's easier that way. And I just love how they're able to kind of reset at the beginning of the season. And I think that's really what that first scene was all for. Just go, okay, let's establish where the characters are so we get a point where we can take them down the road. And I'm really excited. I can't wait to see more of the Vault Tech stuff and what's behind there. And I'm really excited to see Norm. Norm was a little meek last season, but he was perfect. And now, I think there's a little fire underneath him, a little chaos burning in him. And I'm curious where that's going to go. So, yeah. But no, I really think their casting has been just on the spot. And you're right. Bringing Thoreau in for this is just like, okay, perfect. One more. This is going to be good.
Yeah. Because Mr. House to me was like, again, he's supposed to be kind of a Howard Hughes type. The guy who's a recluse rich and lives in a tower in Vegas. And just the way that he plays him, and we're going to get to it in just a second. He's fantastic. I want to bring up Michael Emerson from the first season. As the guy who trained Dog Meat. I love that a show can bring somebody like that in and lose them in an episode and you still feel like you weren't gypped out of it. It's just like, oh. But for me, yes, Norm, I love as this, like, he's not out there in the wasteland trying to be a hero. He's trying to be a hero in the vault. Like the Apple, but him and him and Lucy are both cut from the same kind of cloth.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it because he's just a normal looking dude. He's just a guy. He is not special. He knows what he knows, and he's learned what he's learned, and he's using those things. I love everybody in the vault. I mean, Zach Cherry's down there, man, from Seven.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He's stuck down in another vault. 2 shows, 2 vaults. Also Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
Perfect as the father figure that a lot of these games have, the missing parent or something, some mystery that you have to go on and finding out that your parents aren't the saints that you've made them out to be, and they've got their problems. And Kyle MacLachlan has always been able to play such range of sweetness and dimness and intelligence and evil, like throughout his career, that like he can do anything. And so he's just perfect chameleon who unlike Gary Oldman, who changes the way he looks, Kyle does it and he never changes really the way he looks. He is just that good at putting on different faces with the same face. And it's such a broad character. You know what I mean?
Well, he's
like,
just so
big,
weird.
Video game character, and he's just a guy.
Yeah,
you know,
he's
all
just
these people.
He's just so weird, and I think that's the thing that he brings. There's a quirkiness to it all, so he's always seems to be kind of on edge. And I think that's what he brings so great to Hank, is it's like in the beginning, he was such the loving, caring father, but he could make it, and it's like, yes, I'm the loving, caring father that will destroy the world to save you.
And like you guys have already brought up, Walton Goggins is perfect. He's one of those actors that I didn't really get into that much when he was just starting out, like on The Shield or even Justified. And I love Timothy Olyphant, but I didn't really get into that show for a really long time. And I always just kind of associated him with white trash, redneck characters instead of like watching the shows and seeing like the performance of Walton Goggins outside of my biases that I had about it. So over the years, then, I mean, like he's been in 2 Tarantino movies, kills it in both of those movies. He's been in everything. Is he still making that show, The Unicorn, on CBS? Which it was like so weird. Like again, playing off type, the guy that women want, you know, like and playing a nice father and everything. It's like, again, all the range that all these people have is fantastic. And normally his part where they're showing his backstory would bother me, because it's like, we don't know what happened to anyone when we're playing the game. We pick things up and we read them, like in Skyrim and stuff, where we get stories. Any RPG has stuff lying around, lore lying around for you to like piece together parts of the past. But in this case, I think it was really necessary to tell the story of not just of Cooper, but of how this happened and how the corporations, to tell that story of the corporations and the rich, the billionaires, the tech billionaires, and all these other people that destroyed the world and killed us all.
Well, in a way, though, it's kind of a perfect area for an adaptation like this to go, because it can tell the story that the games, in a way, can't tell, because it is all taking place in the future apocalypse. You wouldn't want to play a flashback sequence or anything like that. But the show can take all of that and go, oh, great, we can give you the backstories that the game can't give you and flesh that out. And in that way, I think it's kind of a brilliant way to not only make a great adaptation, but also really build and contribute to the lore.
Yeah, like I'm unfamiliar with the games, and even I wasn't that hot on the flashbacks at first. I was like, yeah, do we really need these? But it's starting, like, especially towards the end of season 1, it was becoming more relevant. I was like, okay, I see why we need to see these, because I agree, it gives you nice backstory on like the greed of corporations and everything like that, and that does add a lot of texture. I still felt like the flashbacks in this episode, I was like, still a little, I mean, introducing Mr. House was important, but other than that, I don't know, I was still a little off on it. I was like, I'd rather they get back to the present, but I think in the end it's going to be worth it. I think they are definitely building for something that's important.
Yeah, the mystery, because I think we were working on the idea that his family was dead, that they didn't make it and he did. So having added this as a wrinkle is interesting for this character who's been just basically being the man in black from Westworld for like a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he went from being the white hat to the black hat. All it had to take was drop a few nuclear bombs on the guy. And then to find out, I mean, because it's what's great about him is, I mean, he's the face of the apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
Out there on the billboards. He sold everybody. He's out there telling everybody, get in the vaults, do this, do that. And people listen to him and people respect him. And now he's a monster. And everywhere he goes, he still sees these reminders. Like when he goes to the theater, walks past and sees A Man and His Dog 3 starring me, like he can't get away from it. And he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I love that there's this like secret that's there, like underneath that only us and the character know. But to get into the episode proper, now that we've done our big old catch up and where we are getting at and everything, mostly because this is a pretty straightforward episode, but this is our introduction to Mr. House and what his plans are and what he's up to. And we get into the whole controlling people's minds through putting little chips in the backs of your necks. Good old-fashioned market research, as he puts it. What do you guys think of Mr. House and his introduction and how he does things? Whoever wants to go first can go first. Mark?
Yeah, I think there was a very effective way to introduce the character. It right out, like, portrayed just how much of like a madman and sort of having no morals and having that sort of superiority complex is like, I'm a rich billionaire, you're nothing. And so I thought it portrayed all of that in a short amount of time. And again, having a great actor like Justin Theroux certainly didn't hurt. So yeah, I thought that was a very effective, like, you got the character right away from that one scene.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's how you do a character intro. You didn't have to give any name, anything else, but here's a man who's willing to put himself in the middle of things in order to get stuff figured out. I love what he's like, hit me in the face. I'm literally, oh no, I think I'll enjoy it. And he's like, I'm really wrong about things, but let's move on. Again, it's all just perfect little character stuff. And my favorite, of course, is this right here. Every dollar spent is a vote cast. I don't think anything underlines Vault-Tec and so much of the criticism of capitalism or extreme capitalism that we find with this, other than that. And I think it really is something that us in today's world also need to keep very well in mind, because that's what is also going on. So no. It was kind of a brilliant intro, though. I do have one question. I'm just going to throw it out because I have him in my notes as Stranger, because the guy they're showing as Robert House looks different than him. So I mean, again, I don't want to go into like spoiler territory if this is like dealing with some spoiler stuff, but I'm like, that was where kind of my confusion was going in on this. Is I'm like, we seem to be talking about two different people, but they are the same. So, that was the only thing that I was kind of like, even after the episode, that was kind of in my mind. So, if I missed something, please tell me that I missed something. If I haven't, then please tell me that too.
Here's what I think is a strong possibility about this, because I saw the guy on the TV is not the guy who's sitting there in the booth.
Yes.
So it's like, well, there's something that McLaughlin says late in the episode about how he's planned for every contingency to survive. So I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's got doubles, triples, people that play him some places where he doesn't have to be. He can be reclusive, and people don't know. We don't know how, do people really know who this guy is? So I think he can sit there and be in that booth and be like that. I mean, he's the kind of guy who will put $31 million in a trunk of a car, knowing he's not going to be giving anybody that $31 million.
That's also what's so fucked up.
I mean, that's what I mean. So I think he's just that guy he's got a guy over there and he's talking to these guys who don't even know who they're talking to, but he does. It's just so, I freaking love it. And just the callousness. I had one question though, which was, why did the second guy stand there like like an NPC and not run the hell away when the beating started?
The shock.
He's kind of doing this like a little shuffle, like fight or flight, man. I guess he really didn't. I don't know, man.
Well, it's like in the fight scenes where the guys on the edge are moving side to side before they run in, because you can only go one at a time in at the hero. Yeah, it's the same thing. He was he's doing his little background shuffle.
All right, so we move on to our scene where the faction of people that live out in the wasteland called the Khans, which that's just another group, even though they look like bikers, just regular bikers. But I mean, bikers have all kinds of stuff on their labels. They call themselves all kinds of groups, and this is no different. And they have the ghoul, and I love this. This is a perfect example of when you come back from a movie or a TV show that was really good, and you get reintroduced to the characters in a scene where Lethal, from going Lethal Weapon to Lethal Weapon 2, right? It's been a minute since you've seen them, but when you first see them again, they're in some kind of fun, precarious situation where one person's supposed to do something for the other person, and it feels kind of planned out and set up, but then goes sideways when you find out that the two are in the middle of an argument, and that is the only reason why they're in this situation to begin with. And I love this. This isn't because they got caught. It's because they basically were making a bet about things. How do we handle this situation? I want to be the peaceable character. You want to just, do the plan and kill everybody. And I just think that this is great because on, first viewing, I was like, what is she doing? And she does know what he wants. She's just sitting there trying to figure out a better way to do it while he struggles. And I just love this interaction already. And it shows again, we need to show where it's the typical where's everybody at and where are they going episode. And this is just that fun first scene of here they are again. What do you guys think of this?
Mark, go ahead. You first.
So, again, I totally agree. This is a great way to introduce us back to these characters. Also to see the dynamic that these two have, because if I remember correctly, they just joined up together at the end of the first season. So is great. Well, I mean, we've seen them throughout the first season, but I mean, they went on this adventure together willingly. And so it's interesting to see the dynamic they have, that they're both working towards the same goal, but they have different ideas on how to accomplish that. And it was a funny scene. And I will say, like, the imagery of them walking through the desert with the dog does remind me a lot of the movie A Boy and His Dog, which apparently Fallout was inspired by, was kind of based off of that. And I was like, so it's probably not a coincidence. So it's probably intentional to sort of evoke that image. But yeah, I just thought it was funny where she had this whole spiel about, oh, let's come to an agreement. And he just yells out, whoever kills the girl gets to eat the dog. And she's like, okie dokie. And then starts shooting them all. Like, it was a fun scene.
Well, and what I thought was great is, you're right. It was an argument about how to handle the situation. The fact that they could handle the situation was never really in doubt. Do you want to try and make it out okay, or are you going to get killed by this guy? Which it is. Because again, the minute she gets threatened, she's like, okie dokie, blam, and shoots through the rope and lets him go and is able to hit the target. I love the car blowing up with a little mini explosion there also. I thought that was great. Like, little mini fusion cell. So yeah, no, it was just a fun way to establish the characters. And also, I wonder if this is going to be another recurring, because he hits it on later on when they get to Vault 24. Is like, just another matching jacket gang. As he hits that too, it's like, that's part of his 200 years. It's like, you know what I'm tired of? All the gangs with their damn matching jackets. We'll see how the season goes.
Yeah. Bill is in the chat, says, could it be a brain transplant? If he's talking, I think he's talking about Mr. House.
Yeah.
I think that the term, Mr. House and brain transplant is an idea that you should stick with, just not for this situation.
Now, I like what you said about the doubles and having doubles and triples or whatever out there. I think that makes a lot of sense, that he doesn't want his face known by the general public.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you're going to be Robert House, the head of the company, and you'll do what I tell you to do and say what I tell you to say and all of that stuff. I think that's totally seems to be what we're dealing with here, especially because we get the scene when they're in the boardroom, and the wife, she's looking up at the guy up in the little hidden booth, but we're talking to House down here. So yeah, I think that's the guy really in charge, House, and that is.
And we get right there. We get right there in the flashback of them talking, his realization of what's going on, reporting back to Moldover. I think that's how her name is, because we didn't really talk about her when we were going at Moldover of the real resistance or whatever. And how old she is too. Like, I love that whole reveal of everybody being in pods, and they just get let out every once in a while. Brilliant. Anyway, but her and him talking about it and dealing with the whole thing about Vegas and Mr. House, that he's got. We talk about the missiles. Why does Vegas look fine? And they're like, well, because the guy shot them all down. Just about. And then when we find out in the flashback that he's got his own missile defense system he's building in Vegas, and that when the end of the world comes, when the button get pushed, he's the one pushing the button. And that's not really, I don't think that that's something that they covered in the game. In the game, he was just this guy who, I don't want to spoil it, because there will be parts that they use here. But it wasn't that. I love what's great about Justin Theroux getting to play this character is I get to see a bigger, more explained version of Mr. House. And again, you'll know what I'm talking about later on as the show goes on and the character evolves and changes. The vault stuff in this, where we've got the new overseer and her guy. The vault stuff in this is probably the weakest part to me, because they did have a whole lot of things kind of get resolved at the end of the first season. The only mystery now is with Norm and the brain in the jar. Well, the businessman from way back when, the one that Coop hates, is the guy in that jar. Buds. So I don't know how much you guys have for this section, other than because he decides to stop thinking logically and do irrational things and open up all the pods. I do think this is great. It basically does get rid of the leverage that this thing has, that he thinks he has over him. If you want to get out, and this thing's supposed to protect these people, then he's going to have to let Norm out. He's kind of putting the brain in a position that he can't really get out of, in my opinion. So do you guys have anything? How much do you guys have for our vault dwellers?
So this was probably the part where I didn't remember much of season 1. I was like, who are these characters again? I vaguely recall Norm getting stuck in there. Is he like Elle's brother or something?
Yeah, he's Lucy's brother.
Okay,
right.
Lucy's brother. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of got, but I totally agree with you, Rob. This was definitely the weaker part. It made me wonder, why are we still following these people in the vault? Hopefully there's a reason. But I do think the part with the little brain, that was definitely the most interesting part of it. And I kind of knew that Norm was not going to get in the pod. I knew that he was going to come up with some other plan, because that would be boring. And so him letting everyone out, I thought was brilliant. And I'm really, really excited and curious to see where they take the story.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got to give a little shout out to Chet, because he's just screwed. He's going to be watching that baby and doing what he's told. He said last season to Norm that, we're all cowards. And he's living up to that. But I think that we might get some of the frustration again. There's a little bit of weirdness of people lashing out inside the vaults, and I think that might go somewhere. I'm kind of curious to see where that happens. The Norm stuff, yeah, definitely the best. Especially again, the pointless threatening is like, bud, you're a brain with a little robot thing that he ends up just kicking and destroying. Stop! No, don't come at me. It's like all of your threats and all of your planning ultimately means nothing. And I kind of love that idea. And the fact that, Norm's I think he ate all the few food stores that were left for when people woke up. I think that's because they showed the little plates and everything around. But I do like the idea of him being that kind of meek little coward that is now finding a place and is going to be some agent of chaos down in the vault. I am really curious to see where that happens. But yeah, no, I was kind of happy to move past these scenes. I think even on my rewatch, I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this part. We can go forward.
I did kind of find the lady who's eating the popcorn in the therapy session, just listening to the two brother and sister, I guess, try to not eye hump each other during the whole thing, and just so that they can get somebody to say it's okay to bang. We're gonna have kids together. They're looking for somebody to give them permission, and that was just again another weird. I mean. In this episode we find out what fleece soup looks like. I mean, Oh boy,
No.
God. I mean,
No.
talk about that.
No.
Yeah, what do you think about that scene, Darren? You like that one?
No,
like
you know what I want to talk? I want to give a shout out to Vasquez Rocks.
Mm.
All of those desert sequences, all of those big pointy angled rocks, Vasquez. You remember them all the way back from battling the Gorn and Kirk. They
I was
are
gonna ask you guys because of the Star Trek fans. I was like, I think that's the scene from Star Trek. If you don't believe me, it's in my notes, so I can try to send them to you.
Vasquez
Write that
Rocks.
down.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are the desert place to go. So, in
Percent.
fact, I shot my review of the Agent of Shield Alien World video. I went up to Vasquez to shoot that because that's where they shot a lot of the desert scenes there.
Yeah, Vasquez Rock appears maybe 5 or 6 times throughout Star Trek. Like they keep back there.
Apparently, also, you can blame dust allergies on a shitty relationship with your parents.
Well, there you go.
I thought that was really funny. She's like, "Do you think my dust allergy has a problem? Something with my dad? Like my relationship with? Oh my gosh!"
If that'll keep my group going, yes, it does.
The people in the vault are very special people. I mean, the guy who can't get past the right onto the elevator, left onto the elevator now just can't do it. Just can't figure it out. Even like I love that they show it too.
I know.
He's like, I don't know.
That was a nice little moment.
So one question I had, because I didn't remember season 1 very well, is the woman who was in charge of that vault who was making Chad look after her baby. Was she like revealed to be like in on it and one of the people that came from like hibernation or something?
Norm discovered that she's from Vault 31, like every overseer is from Vault 31.
Okay.
So when she was nominated, when they sent everyone back to 32, Norm was looking at Chet like, "See what I'm saying, man?" And Chet's like, "I'm still whipped."
Right, because she definitely came off as like kind of evil in this episode.
With the
Taking a knife and like, so do we have a problem?
She can't get it out.
Speaking of evil, how creepy was the sugar bombs scene?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So was that meant to be Lucy's father talking to her through that guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, he visited and left a note for her in the creepiest way possible to please
Just
turn
that
back.
image in the
fix
shadows
everything.
of a person that's like got something wrong, and then just the voice and everything, and just we had 2 head explosions in this episode, and they were like just equally. This was terrifying, like a horrible scene of like that was probably the lady's son, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
So it's like he drags this guy off, puts the thing in him so that he can just tell her to go home. Like, oh boy, which I think, I mean, really gets us to that end part, really, where he just shows up at Vault-Tec. I mean, again, Kyle MacLachlan just happy he is so happy. He just gets to go there and get all cleaned up and put on a business suit again, and
best day ever.
Just, and there's more here, like finding that other vault, where again, because every vault you go into in the game is different. And that's one of the great things about the game is you're always cracking open basically a tomb of what kind of madness took over. Some are in good condition, some are in terrible condition. It all varies. And finding one where, again, this is what they said. I mean, it was like they say earlier in the episode, market research. A lot of these vaults were basically market research. And in this, it was to find out, like, to be able to turn your own people into the enemy. Like they had them costumes and everything. It was just it's bad. I mean, but I do think the point of that scene though really was more for the ghoul when we find out like he's searching for his family and that every time he goes into one of these he's could possibly find them. And I like how he evokes or emotes both how he wants it and he's terrified of finding out the answer at the same time. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, and that's the nice note that Lucy says to him, because she's talking about, yeah, I'm the hopeful one, and you are too. You just hide it a little bit more. You know, you've got it buried down in there, because that's his whole reason to try and find his family is it's got to be that point of hope and the terror as well. I also love how, again, you're right. Each of these vaults are doing different things. This vault was control of testing the mind control thing. Can we get it to work right? And he steals the data core from that in order to take up to vault to learn. Another vault, well, they were working on making it smaller. So then he'll take that. So his whole, what did he say? His job is integration. I'm just going to make these two things work together. So you're right. It kind of shines lights into how messed up each of the vaults is. It shows how he's going in together and kind of, again, that commentary on business and over business and monopolies and things of like, yeah, this division will do this thing and this division will do this thing. And nobody knows all of the pieces. Only I or us up at the top know all the little bits that can put them together. So yeah, very, very dark and twisted.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you guys said, it was very creepy and just it's interesting that when you go into a vault, you never know what to expect. If that's how the game was, I think the show is capturing that perfectly. So we're not meant to know who Kyle MacLachlan's talking to at the end of the episode, are we?
I think he's talking to House.
Okay.
They imply it because when he says your old stopping grounds, and earlier the ghoul is like, we're going to Robert House. He basically owns Vegas.
Okay.
So they kind of imply it without yet explicitly saying it. And I think that's because we have that, who was the stranger and who is Mr. House? And are they the same I think we've got a little bit of that mystery still intentionally flowing out there.
Yeah, and I mean the connection between Vault Tech and Robco being Robert House's company, and how they all are looking at it. He's talking about the promotion that he's finally going to get. I mean, wow.
Jeez.
So does that mean like when he was in, I can't remember, was it Vault 31 or 32, wherever he grew up?
Yeah.
Is it implying he had like a job to do there, but he wanted to do a bigger job?
Well, he had a job before. He was around, like he was working for Mr. House and Vault Tech and all this before the apocalypse.
Before the apocalypse, yeah.
He was one of Bud's junior executives.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, was he like in that vault doing a job that he didn't want to do because he wanted a higher up job? So he's doing the stuff he is now to try to get a promotion or something.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that there was always a plan and it just got interrupted by Moldaver. Like eventually things would work the way that they want them to work, but she pushed it. She blew it all up. So now Hank is just doing what he's got to. And so the whole world's blowing up. He's the one with the cold fusion now, right?
No, that's still with the
it's still with Lucy.
With the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They have it. So I mean, we don't know fully what he's going to be up to, but that's going to be what part of the fun of this season.
Yeah. Well, how I kind of read that is, no, he's a junior executive that sees an opportunity for advancement,
and just that desperation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
As soon
he's
as he
like,
got
I'm gonna
himself established, he's on the phone calling, leaving a message for the boss. Like,
yeah,
ugh.
you're gonna want me to be with you because I'm gonna show you just how valuable I am. I mean, it's yeah, it is. I sorry, before we go on or anything, I want to flash back a little bit and just make a note of just how incredibly messed up it is for them to test their civil alert system with like a 10-second warning on the radio. Because you could see that that Cooper was like, it's just a test, but nobody else did. And they all thought these air raid sirens going off meant they were about to get blown up. And I'm like, that sounds like what Vault-Tec would do. Let's get them used to being scared. So then they go, oh my God, we could have died. We need a vault. Because the Vault-Tec guy is right there when it happens. It's just so messed up.
Yeah, that's just it's so brilliantly evil. Like, it's just so fucking.
But that is
it already happens now.
Yes,
already get targeted now.
That's what I was gonna say. It's brilliant commentary on how fear is used to for compliance, to get people compliance or to buy their products. So it's like perfect commentary.
Also, just as a little Easter egg, when Coop is stressing out and getting ready for his wife to come home, we hear a little note on the radio about West-Tec skincare products. West-Tec in the game is the company that builds the power armor that Coop would be aware of because he wore that during the war. They are also ultimately responsible for the virus that causes the super mutants. So, again, these are fun little things and I think that's what they do really well for their job for the most part, is they can drop their Easter eggs that if you know it, you go, ah. And if you don't, it's not really a big deal. I mean, I guess apparently there was a few that you caught, Marc, last season that you were like, well, this is obviously an Easter egg of some sort because they're paying attention to something that doesn't make any sense. But it's, again, one of those things that I think they do well. Especially with, what was it, the Rad-X and the little health things, the little health shots.
With Psychos and...
Yeah.
And the Pip-Boy and...
Oh, yeah. Oh, and he's got a gold Pip-Boy now. Did you notice that? He's an executive.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much all I have for this first episode. It was longer, but the first episodes that we talk about usually are, so we can cover all the bases and everybody gets a chance to talk about their feelings on the thing and blah, 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 blah. But I think we did pretty darn good at talking about this for 3 people in just under an hour.
Good job, everyone. Nice.
So I think we kept it tight. And if you did like this, because again, I forgot to say like and subscribe at the top of the thing. If you already subscribed already, that's great. But if you haven't subscribed and you made it this far, if you hate watched me, why?
Subscribe anyway
with your life. But if you got this far and you didn't subscribe, maybe you should think about subscribing. I don't know. You might want to come back and hear more conversations. Okay. That's my spiel. For the rest of this week, Friday, tomorrow night, we are talking Pluribus episode 8, the penultimate episode of that. Would you on the chat? You're welcome. Darrin, you and Marc are doing some stuff.
Well, I'm doing Pluribus with you, but I'm going to be joining Marc. Is that next month? Is it almost January already?
Yeah, it's almost January.
Yeah. Because we get to go back to Westeros. Way back. I'm so excited about that. Get to go back, and I'm going to join Marc over on his channel and talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which should be really fun. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, George R.R. Martin's liked it very much, apparently.
Okay, well, that's Good sign, I hope.
He's given up on House of the Dragon, having a feud with them, but he's like apparently is very happy about Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So I'm just about to listen to the audiobook of that. So curious to see what that's like.
Yeah, it's a good story. I listened to it a few years ago on a road trip through California. Again, if you're making long drives, audiobooks are the way to go. And yeah, no, really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they adapt it, and yeah, it should be good.
Yep. So I'm over on Enchantment of Eternity, mainly doing Star Trek reviews, going through every single episode of Star Trek. So if you're a Star Trek fan, you can check that out. And as Darrin mentioned, we'll be doing Night of the Seven Kingdoms live streams next month. And yeah, so random stuff popping up from time to time, but mostly Star Trek reviews. You can check out.
Yeah. And so that also means that you're going to want to join. Go check out the Outer Rim episode 10. It's going to drop this Monday, where we are actually having this guy down, kind of talking about the world of Star Trek and what would that be like and how does that work and can we do that? Do you think? So it was really a fun chat. So you guys definitely want to check that out for the Outer Rim Christmas edition.
Yep. And then expect us later next week because of the holiday. This stream should be on Saturday instead of Thursday. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I'm Rob. That's Darrin. That's Marc. And we'll be back talking more Fallout next week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Watch out for rad scorpions.
Keep going. Wait a minute. I love to hear you laugh, buddy. I love to hear you laugh.